everyone, it's Ryzen.
And Liz.
And welcome to the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers matchup. Surprisingly, New England's favored in the game. I guess that's based on history. I thought the pundits would favor Pittsburgh because they usually do. Well, they usually talk up Pittsburgh all throughout the year for whatever reason. Not that Pittsburgh hasn't been good this year, they have. But injuries, to start with that. Alan Branch ruled out. Kind of sucks, but I don't think it's the end of the world. You got questionables, Trey Flowers.
Gimpy, who knows?
I think he'll play. He didn't play last week. Stephon Gilmore, he'll play. David Harris, I don't know. Ankle injury for a linebacker, probably won't play. Hogan, he'll play. He played last week. Brandon King, don't know, hamstring. Matthew Slater, I believe he played last week.
I think he did.
So he'll probably play this week. Adrian Waddle, he was active last week, did not play. I suspect, I don't know, if he's healthy enough to go, he'll start. Otherwise, Cameron Fleming will be there. Marcus Cannon was added to IR, which, if Adrian Waddle gets healthy, is not a big deal because they're about equivalent talent-wise. So, Deatrick Wise, he played. He's got a foot injury. He played last week, but I think he'll play this week. And
that's it for the Patriots.
Yeah, Brady and Cooks were taken off the injury list. Although Brady did practice the whole week this time, thankfully. Steelers, they have less injuries, but I think they have more serious injuries based on the players it's affecting. It's kind of the disadvantage when you rely on superstar players instead of what the Patriots do, where they rely on average players outside of Gronkowski and Brady. Maybe Donta Hightower, but even him I don't consider a superstar. Well, Slater's a superstar, but that's because the Patriots are weird. Only they would have a freaking superstar special teamer who's going to go in the Hall of Fame. So weird. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Vance McDonald's already been ruled out. So that's a receiving option out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which doesn't sound too bad, except for the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster re-aggravated his hamstring in practice Thursday. I would be stunned if he played. Hamstrings, you're usually out for
a while.
2 weeks at least. And it's a re-aggravation of a prior injury. I don't know how you get suspended, come back to practice and aggravate your hamstring, but
whatever, he
did.
managed to.
I don't think he'll play. Joe Hayden still dealing with the fractured fibula. It's been 4 weeks, but I still don't think he'll play. Based on what I've been reading, it doesn't sound like if he's not 100%, he's not going to go. They're already in the playoffs, so they don't want to risk losing him for the year. He's their best corner. And unfortunately, Cody Sensbach was added, but he did have full participation in practice, so he should play. If he doesn't play,
they're in trouble.
They're in a lot of trouble because that's 2 cornerbacks down. Granted, the only cornerback that's great on that team is Joe Hayden, but it's still a problem for them. So, offensively for the Patriots, I think they'll be able to move the ball quite easily, mainly because it's the Steelers, and the Patriots always move the ball against the Pittsburgh Steelers because they're a zone blitz defense. They have one of the worst schemes for going against Tom Brady in the league. I mean, zone coverage already gets torched by Tom Brady. When you add a team that likes to blitz out of zone coverage, now you have wide sections of the middle of the field just completely open. So, supposedly Pittsburgh's going to run more man coverage. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't think they have the personnel to do that. And
don't they say that every year?
They say that every year. And Tomlin I think is a bad coach. He fails to make adjustments. So I don't. And even if they do, I don't think they'll be able to do what Miami did. Miami was able to play tight man-to-man coverage and collapse the middle of the pocket.
And it worked.
Pittsburgh can't do that.
No.
And even then, New England had a 50-50 shot at winning the game. So Pittsburgh doesn't have that personnel. They don't have that kind of scheme. It's all about matchups more than what their team's records are. Miami's always a tougher team for New England because of their scheme and their personnel compared to Pittsburgh.
So now that the Patriots have Gilmore on defense, do you think they'll still put Butler on Brown?
I suspect so. I suspect they'll put Butler and Shadow McCourty on Antonio Brown. But I'm still going over the offense.
Oh well.
That's okay. Just to stay on track, I think offensively they'll be able to move the ball. They'll have success, I think, with crossing patterns over the middle of the field because Pittsburgh likes to do this. Oh, is that a guy running down the field? Oh, let's just stand here. I don't know why. They have constant miscommunication in Pittsburgh's secondary, and they're back to that again. So I suspect Hogan and Cooks will just run wide open in the game. I do. I suspect that.
It happened last year.
It happened with Hogan. It'll happen again. It happens every time they play Pittsburgh. It happened in the regular season game last year. Just guys just open, nobody around them. So, and those deep crossing routes confuse Pittsburgh. Don't ask me why. Gronkowski will be back as well. It's another option. Ryan Shazier is gone. Pittsburgh can no longer stop the run, especially those outside runs. Deion Lewis is a fast running back that can run outside runs. So they're going to have problems with that. So I think New England will have its way with Pittsburgh's defense. And I suspect they'll put up a lot of points. And defensively, I expect them to take away Antonio Brown. It's what New England always does. They take away your number one and your number two. So they will take away Antonio Brown with Malcolm Butler and Devin McCourty in double coverage. And they'll take away Le'Veon Bell with playing their two-gap defense. And what they'll do is they'll do what they did in the AFC Championship game. They'll stay on their blocks deliberately, and they'll wait for Le'Veon Bell to be forced to move up, and then they'll tackle him. They're not going to get off those blocks and create open space for Le'Veon Bell's patient running style. It doesn't work against New England. I don't think it's going to work this time. Didn't work last time. And yes, I know he only played 8 snaps. The fact is he was still terrible in that AFC Championship game. D'Angelo Williams was a hell of a lot more effective than Le'Veon Bell in that game because it took a drive for the Patriots to adjust to a regular running back who hits the holes hard. Mm-hmm. So I suspect they'll take away Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. And with no Juju Smith, you got Martavis Bryant, who I don't think...
Wasn't he on the injury list earlier this week?
No, he's off. He's not on the injury list, but I don't think he's very good. He's really inconsistent. And Jesse James, who's okay, the other tight end. But if Pittsburgh's going to win this game, it's got to be to Bryant, and it's got to be to Jesse James. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Unless, by some miracle, New England plays really bad. The other thing is New England played a really bad game last week. They don't do that twice in a row.
No, they never do.
Yeah, they don't lose 2 in a row. So that's another problem for Pittsburgh. They've lost 2 in a row, I think like 4 times that I can... They lost once in 2015, twice in a row, and 2012 they lost twice in a row once. It does not happen very often.
No.
So, and special teams, I always give the advantage to New England because they prioritize it. They always have one of the best in the league. Although Antonio Brown is a good kick returner and punt returner, but this time of year they don't usually let him do it that much.
They'll just kick the ball away from him.
Well, no, I mean the Pittsburgh Steelers. They usually don't put him back there.
Oh, so they'll have some other
sometimes
guy.
They don't.
We'll see,
just
I guess.
to save his strength for the playoffs, but
I guess we'll see.
So, I just don't. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be that competitive in the game. On paper, Pittsburgh's an amazing team, but they just don't play well against New England historically. The last time they beat New England in a playoff game was 1997.
Oh wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and I think Brady is 10-2 against Pittsburgh.
His record's ridiculous against them.
Brady and Belichick are 10-2. I think they lost to when Ben was in his rookie season. I think they lost that game. I forget the second game they lost, but they almost always beat Pittsburgh. So if there's one team, there's 2 teams that Tom Brady just dominates: Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
I would give Pittsburgh a better chance actually if New England won last week. So I'm going to predict New England 38. I'll give Pittsburgh 17. I think this game will be close going into the second half, and New England pulls away in the third, and the game is clearly over in the fourth. Also, There's not going to be a miracle fourth quarter comeback in this game. If Pittsburgh's going to win this game, they got to dominate it from beginning to end.
They got to score points.
This is not the Colts. It's not the Ravens. It's not. I mean, the Ravens are a good team, and so are the Bengals are not. But it's a division game. It's always tougher. Again, matchups. Pittsburgh struggles against Baltimore. They struggle sometimes against Cincinnati, although they usually beat Cincinnati. I can't explain the Colts game. I don't know what the hell happened there, but I just think New England wins this game pretty easily. I don't know if you gave your score.
I didn't, but I was going to say 35-17, so we were pretty much both on track. We
I
both
just
think
don't
that they're
see
going
it.
to just beat them. They beat them every time. They never really have any issues.
No, it's just historically.
I mean, if Flowers and Van Noy are both back, then their defense will be solid. If they're not, then we'll have to see what they do.
I still think they'll be able.
But I think even without those two players, other guys have been stepping up, like Eric Lee, although he was terrible last week.
But
Other guys will step up in their place, and they always find a way to beat Pittsburgh. And with Hogan healthy and back, I don't think they'll have an issue on offense either. And for special teams, Steven's been really good with his kicks this year, minus that horrific onside kick they did last week. But special
I think
teams
they were
is
conceding the game.
yeah. I think they just gave up. But I think overall the team, I think they're gonna win.
I think they're going to win pretty easily. And Ryan Allen's always pretty good punting. So, and nobody kicks to Deion Lewis anymore, which is a good sign. Nobody wants to kick to him, so they don't let him return the ball. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Not saying Pittsburgh can't win the game.
It's possible.
They could,
Definitely
but
possible.
they have to play a perfect game. And okay, sorry, the camera cut off. But anyway, we'll see what happens as far as the game is concerned. Number one seed's on the line here, so
If the Patriots did lose,
they're
then
out
they
of the
would
number one seed.
they would drop to number two or three, depending on how.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, so it's important.
It's important.
It's the game of the week for
Which
the
is
AFC.
why I don't think they will lose this game, because it's a must-win for them. Jacksonville plays Houston, I think.
They do earlier in the day.
I think that'll be a hard game for them because matchup, it's division game. They're always tougher. Houston could win that game. Who knows? Looking ahead, New England would go on. I would have to test. The last two games are Buffalo at home, Jets at home. So if they beat Pittsburgh, they're 99% certain to get the number one seed because they don't lose to Buffalo ever, and they don't lose to the Jets at home. So this is the big game. We'll see. We'll just cut it off here, do our recap after the game, and hopefully they play well. This is Ryzen.
And Liz,
Thanks for watching. Take care.
go Pats.
Yeah.